Oh, hi. I'm calling from Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Wonderful.
Hi,
Hola.
John. I'm so glad to talk to you. Thank you so much for this. It's a gift in this difficult time. And thank you, Soren and John, too. Um, I was, I had this question in my mind all the time. And then yesterday, talking in the group, another question popped out. So I tell you both, and you tell me which one you want to
Okay.
answer. Um, First, the first one that I have been thinking a lot about is you started talking last the weeks before about the detaching from the I, me, myself narrative, and I find that I'm amazing, and I would like to hear more. Being alone, it's sometimes I find myself being me, myself, I all the time,
Yes.
and but I also find it so good and healthy when I detach from that. And the other thing that yesterday I was talking to another girl from France, and she told me that she was having some trouble at night, and it happens to me also that during the day I meditate every day and I stay here with you every day, but at night is when the everything comes,
Yeah.
and it's more difficult. So I don't know any of the both things. I'm so grateful to hear you.
Well, first of all, thank you for getting that message and appreciating the whole domain of those personal pronouns and how easily we can fall into ideas about ourselves, who I am, where I'm going, how I am with other people. And then we fall into stories, and very often they're really critical stories that we're not good enough. There's something wrong with me. I'm too this or I'm too that. And this is called thinking. It's just thinking, but it's the kind of thinking that can turn really toxic
Mm.
and put us into places where we feel sad or depressed about ourselves. It's like hitting yourself in the head with with a hammer or something. It's like, why does that help? Why does that kind of thing help? So the awareness of our doing that is mindfulness. And what it does is it actually breaks the link. It's like if there's a chain of thoughts, it actually breaks the link so that it can't perpetuate itself. And the more you practice in that way, the more you can actually free yourself from, if it's depression, if the thoughts are depressive or critical of myself, me, myself, what's wrong with me. That's called depressive rumination. And there's been a lot of research. I was saying something about how the research on mindfulness has been going exponential. And hopefully it will again, once we are out of this mitigation phase, that from mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, remarkable research that's showing that you can actually liberate yourself from this, what's called depressive rumination, by simply bringing awareness to it. So you don't have to do anything. You just bring awareness to it. And it's like touching a soap bubble. You touch the soap bubble and it just goes poof. The Tibetans would say, I think, that it self-liberates. And so it's the nature of awareness, and you can experiment and explore this for yourself, that when you bring awareness to toxic thoughts of any kind, whether they're fearful thoughts or they're sad thoughts or they're angry thoughts or whatever, when you bring pure awareness to it, it's like touching a soap bubble. They just go poof. Now they come back. So you got to go poof, 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 poof for a long time, like moment by moment by moment by moment. But what you're doing, that's in some sense exercising the muscle. Okay, so you're really in a very good position because you're isolated and alone to use this time as a retreat. No one asked for it. You didn't ask for it. But I get the sense that you actually understand this. I can see it in your face. And that so it becomes an opportunity for something truly remarkable. And I won't repeat the two poems that I recited when I talked about those personal pronouns, me, myself, and I. But I will say two things. The Buddha is famous for having said, um, yeah, the Buddha is famous. I was thinking, which one should I tell you first? But I'll tell you this one first. The Buddha is famous for having said, all of my teaching can be encapsulated in one sentence. And he taught for 45 years straight, okay? And I like to say, in case he wasn't joking, maybe we should memorize that sentence, learn it by heart, even if we don't understand it. And inquire, let it cook inside of us, let it germinate inside of us with a big don't know. What is this? And of course, it's a thought, it's in words, so we can use thinking to actually collaborate in liberating ourselves from our own suffering and delusion and so forth. And the sentence is this: nothing is to be clung to. That's the verb in English, to cling, to grasp, to self-identify. Nothing is to be clung to as I, me, or mine. All of Buddhist teachings, one sentence, nothing is to be clung to as I, me, or mine. Another story, I get into stories, it's hard to stop. Huineng, the sixth Chan patriarch in ancient China, about, the Tang Dynasty, 600 AD or something like that. As a boy, uneducated, he was hired to pound rice in the kitchen of a monastery, a Zen monastery. And he heard a monk chanting walking by the kitchen window. And he heard the monk chanting one line from the Diamond Sutra. And that line was, develop a mind that clings to nothing. Develop a mind that clings to nothing. And that one line, this is an uneducated, young rice pounder, had such a profound effect on his mind that he became the greatest voice in Chinese Chan across a 1,000 years, Huineng. And there's wonderful stories about how that he finally got to be the sixth patriarch, to receive the robe and bowl from the fifth patriarch. A wonderful story about that, but I won't go into it. I just want to share a poem, another poem by Emily Dickinson. If I can remember it correctly, it goes like this. I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? If so, there's two of us. Don't tell. They'd advertise, How boring to be somebody. How tedious like a frog to croak one's name the livelong June to an admiring bog. So this is Emily Dickinson. Even if you're a native English speaker, she is really hard to understand, but she's talking about something she's pointing to something really, really important. We are so much bigger than who we think we are. And if we go blah, 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 blah about me, 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 me all the time, that's not the true you. That's like advertising. And what are we advertising? And who's doing the advertising? Who feels so insecure that we have to blah, blah, blah about me, me, me all the time? The most powerful example of that at the moment that I can think of is the President of the United States. It's all about him. And so we getting a real object lesson, I think globally, but certainly in my country, about the problem associated with just loving yourself in a way that's too small, that it's all about me. but it's driven by greed, by hatred and delusion. Hatred may be too strong a word, but aversion, liking some things, not liking other things, and being caught between, I want more of that, I don't want any of that. And it's all about me. So thank you for that question. The reason I went on so long about it is, it's not just your question there sitting in Buenos Aires. This is the fundamental point of all of this, is that if mindfulness is not a liberative practice, there's no point in actually engaging in it. This is, and the Buddha himself said, this is the absolute heart, to cultivate a mind that clings to nothing. How we do that, or that nothing is clung to as I, me, or mine. So there are an infinite number of doors into the room. The important thing is not to stand in the doorway and be caught up in concepts, but to enter the room. And that room is called Victoria Gonzalez. The real question is, who is Victoria Gonzalez underneath your name, and underneath your age, and underneath your stories, and underneath who your parents were, and all of that, which is quite wonderful, but there's something else that is the most profound. And the more you invite that in, put out the welcome mat for it, the more you're living the life that's yours to live.
Thank you so much. Thank you.